All right, boys, we are back, and today we have yet another guest. I'll introduce the main three. We've got me, Darrell,
Me, Ryan.
Me, Giffen.
and we also have a guest with us, Harley. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name's Harley. Interest that we could speak about today is football, social media, and gaming. And I think Geffen's going to tell us the football segment today.
Kevin, so you want to start with that because I know it's your favourite.
So starting off with Saturday the 9th of May, we had Liverpool versus Chelsea, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Then we had Fulham versus Bournemouth. Both teams got red cards, but Bournemouth taking a 1-0 win. Then we had United Sunderland's 0-0.
Poor result.
Then we had Brighton Wolves, Brighton with a 3-0 win. Same with Man City versus Brentford, and City got a 3-0 win to finish off Saturday. And then to start Sunday off, we had Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Then we had Palace versus Everton, 2-0 draw. Then we had Villa versus Burnley, which surprisingly ended in a 2-0 draw. Could have thought would have won that, but then we had Arsenal versus West Ham. Unfortunately, Arsenal won 1-0. On Monday the 11th, we had Tottenham versus Leeds, which also unfortunately ended in a 1-1 draw.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
You only say unfortunately because Spurs are going down. We have this every week, right? Geffen is sadly a Spurs fan. Can we give a little boost?
No,
Nice one, mate. Nice one, right?
could be worse. Could be a City fan.
Who do you support? United?
Yeah, big United fan. That's why
Fair.
when Jamalin was on here last week.
Yeah. You know what? He didn't even talk about like United or anything. We just sort of got straight to business. Yeah, so check out, guys. But yeah, football's always a good one to like sort of get going about. It's always good to start, talking about. Like, funny enough, it's like one thing that can either bring people together or bring people apart. So yeah, it's football's always a sort of really interesting one. But I do have a quick question for you. Kind of link into one of your main segments, So on the topic of like media and influence, do you sort of relate to football? Do you think social media, football are now just interlinked, or what's your view on that?
I think social media does play a big way in football in terms of popularity and obviously transfers. You can hear rumors. It's a big thing, social media. But I do think towards footballers, if you underperform or just have a bad week, you get a lot of hate for that, and just a lot of negativity comes from social media, and the way that it's wrapped around football at the moment is just like it's a good thing and it's also a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you always mentioned like transfers.
Yeah,
I think obviously mainly the older generation probably remember like the Ozil transfer. So I'm pretty sure it was like last minute deadline day. There was an excitement about it. Sky got to reporting it. Every report was there.
yeah.
Whereas now, you've got people like Fabrizio Romano just commenting on it. And, do you like football transfers are boring now, or what's your sort of view on it?
Boring because you still got obviously like if there's a big player coming to your club, you're going to be happy about that. But it's the fact that it's not going to be surprising. So I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's not going to be surprising as it was back then because you got months ahead, maybe weeks ahead, and your club's looking at new players to bring in, but you already know everyone who's rumoured to come. So when they actually do end up showing up, you're just not filled with that excitement. Wow, we've actually brought this big player in now because we've heard about it for months, for weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, fully agree with that.
Well, social media is back to football. Like what Harley said, if players have like a bad week, like I remember when we played Brighton and Kevin Danzo obviously made a little mistake, and obviously after that game, the amount of like abuse and racism he got was just like. It's also when we played. Can't remember what team it was, but it was like when I think it was Saka or Rashford got to take a penalty on Euros and they missed it. The amount of racism and abuse they got after that, it's just.
Yeah. I think social media, while it has its benefits, I think it really does like tune in on the negatives.
Yeah.
And generally, some teams get mocked more than others. Like, I think Arsenal, I'll use Arsenal as an example. They get a lot of hate. Let's be real. I would say they get more hate than any other club in the Premier League. And even with the decision against West Ham at the weekend, there was massive appeals for a penalty, right? And now everyone's saying like, Arsenal shouldn't have got the penalty. It should have gone through like to West Ham. And then like, Arsenal fans are complaining. But I feel like sometimes Arsenal do have a genuine reason to complain. Like they have had some shocking sins against them.
Yeah, exactly.
With Rice apparently booting the ball away. He tapped it. Like
Yeah,
it didn't delay the play. Like
exactly.
the Lewis Skelly counter attack. That's me looking at it from a refereeing point of view as well. It's just not. I think sometimes we do need to apply common sense. I know there's a rule book, but at the same time, I think we've got to balance that out with like common sense.
Exactly that.
But yeah, like again, going back to social media and stuff, I think that really like emphasizes the negatives, and I think it somewhat gives football a bad name because if you see one video of football's bad, football's hooligans, you like that. That's all that TikTok's going to give you. That's what the algorithm's for. It gives you stuff it thinks you're interested in, right? So if you've got this one view on football's bad, football's for hooligans, don't let your family go and watch their team because it's just full of hooligans. That will keep like sort of recurring to you. So like it could even be like a certain fan base is awful, right? When in all reality they might not be. I'll take Fulham as an example for this one, right? I told Harley like I was going to a Fulham game, and they're like, Fulham's got bad fans, haven't they? And I went. They were some of the loveliest people I've ever met.
Yeah,
Real posh, don't get me wrong. Like their fans were so genuine, and even their chants, there was absolutely no swearing in any of their chants. They were like really like family based. And, partially because they might have used to being a bit wild, but, they've changed and adapted. And I think social media will never show that side of it. They'll never show the family friendly side if you're a person that always interacts with the negative side of it. Yeah.
the whole social media thing with linked to sport, I still don't think that's even the biggest issue in the sport. I think the biggest issue in the sport is not the refs, but the people behind VAR. Because VAR, as a Man United fan, all the amount of ways we've had stuff go against us because of VAR is outrageous. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah. I mean, like, from my point of view, VAR is a good thing.
It's a good thing,
It's
don't get me wrong, but when it's like you get
against,
to like the slightest thing, like when they start drawing the lines and you can be like a hand offside, that's when it gets like, okay, it's a bit much now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the thing about VAR, right, is it's so good until it's against you.
Exactly.
Being a fan of like a lower league team, right, we don't have to deal with it. Like, I'm a Wimbledon fan, right? If I've watched them on TV, I've never had to sit and worry about, is I going to be offside? Is that because you will know in the moment? And I think this is part of the reason why people just don't think of Premier League refs the same as they would some other refs, I'd say, like EFL refs. Because EFL refs, and even down to grassroots, right? You can only give what you can see and you give it straight away, right? Whereas I think the Premier League refs won't call stuff as frequently because they're like, if we're playing on anyway, we can go back to VAR. And I think it kind of takes out that sort of instincts that refereeing gives you, and just leaves you the authority, which makes you seem like a bit of a mouth. Like being real, like,
Choose your machines.
yeah,
It's
like
that you're doing.
instead of
not
doing your
doing it.
job. Absolutely. It's becoming a bit of a problem, don't get me wrong. Like I personally don't think it should be used in the upper tiers for everything they are using it for, especially because they want to branch out to like giving corners now and set pieces.
Yeah, I feel like it's used way too frequently as well.
I think
And
VAR
in the
is.
wrong way.
Oh yeah,
They're not
absolutely.
doing it properly.
Absolutely. VAR is one of those things where I think if we get rid of it, I think people will complain anyway.
Yeah.
We just need to scale back the level in which we're using it.
Mm.
But yeah, you guys got anything to say on that?
No, I think that's wrapped up that VAR thing. It's just I think I agree with you. They shouldn't use it in like as frequently or in like the leagues and that. I think it should be a cup based thing, like Champions League, FA Cup, all the cup. I think it should be that, just so then all teams that are competing in that tournament or cup do get a fair chance. So yeah, I do agree with that. The whole frequent, like not using it as frequently, and they're not using it in league games. But I think in tournaments, it should be only tournaments,
Yeah,
cups.
fair enough, fair enough. And obviously, I think everyone sort of had to slowly adapt to the idea of technology being such a big part of our lives, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In general, I think it was bound to happen to sports, but it would be weird to live in a world without technology now. Like you wake up, like you check your phone, probably one of the first things you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Me personally, like in the morning, my Alexa turns my lights on. Like it's just it's so lazy, right? But it's something we've all grown used to.
Yeah.
And I think technology is now, especially for our age, it's a massive part of our lives. And that sort of brings me on to this sort of second topic, still related to social media, like social media and its impacts on like teams, particularly. Because I think we are one of the first generations to proper sort of experience technology as it is.
Well, yeah.
I think we kind of take advantage, like how easy stuff is to use now, and like we're at the point where like desktops are so simple to set up now, and like everything's so advanced. Generally, like when you think about it, like humans have gone like tens of millions of years without technology, right?
Yeah. Jobs have been taken over by machines.
What jobs are being taken over by technology?
A lot of factories,
Okay.
AI assistants.
But are AI assistants really taking jobs? Because when you think about it, right, you have the AI, but then you've got to have people to maintain it, to control it. As more wars come in, there's got to be at least a group of people behind keeping them running. If anything, you could say that gives out a few jobs. Like technology has taken some jobs, like Amazon are obviously trialing their drones for
Oh, yeah.
deliveries.
Yeah.
I think it's getting to a point where we still need delivery drivers.
And even in wars as well.
But yeah, no, yeah,
Even like heavy machinery is just being taken over by drones.
yeah, that's a good point. I think that's actually a really interesting topic. What do you think about sort of technology and war? Do you think war should go back sort of how it was in the sense of like it's human versus human? You
Yeah.
know, drones come and drop stuff on us. Like
Mm.
that's just
I just feel like the people. I know, obviously, violence isn't the best way to get out of it, but I feel like they're just using like all this new AI too much, and they're just kind of scared. I'm guessing
yeah. It is a way of sort
hiding
of.
behind the machines.
It's definitely easier to use a drone,
Yeah,
but I guess you could look at it in the sense of like a human has emotion. You know,
Exactly.
if a human was going to go somewhere and they were told to shoot someone. If you saw a family and kids, you'd obviously skip over them or even just turn around.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that ability. It doesn't feel anything. I think in that sense, it can be quite dangerous actually to have technology that integrated into sort of war and our lives. I think
yeah.
because as good as technology is, I don't think it'll ever be able to understand emotion. Genuine
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you guys think on that?
I think the whole thing about using machines during war, as you said, it is a way to beat around the bush, and I just think that it would cause a lot less. Obviously, war. I'm not saying it's a good thing or anything like that, but if you was to do as it was before, like humans versus other humans, there'll be a lot less destructive to the environment, not also to like people's minds, because PTSD, stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be a lot less destruction to other things instead of just using drones and just dropping bombs on places that again, if you're in a war, then you don't obviously you're gonna go to war, obviously. But going for their country for people that are not involved whatsoever and bombing their city or whatever it may be, I just don't think that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I don't think war is good in general because, like, if you use an AI, too many people die, and if you use humans, people are affected badly,
Yeah.
and then those people don't get support. I think there's not really an in between. I think generally just scrap the ideas of war, but that's never going to happen.
No, it's never.
Never. But yeah, like going back to sort of technology, it's like a really integrated part of our lives.
Yeah.
It's so important. But at the same time, I think it depends on the person who uses it. I think it's okay in the right hands, but the second someone with a bit too much control gets hold of it, it's
Yeah.
something else.
Exactly.
It's used as a weapon rather than something to help.
Yeah.
But just generally, was still on the topic of like social media, technology linked back to us, but social media is probably what everyone thinks of when I say like our age group is sort of affected by technology. It's really social media that we mean. You that's what really is important to our age group. Let's be honest. Like, it's our way of sort of communicating with each other, even if it's on games, game chats and
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Uh,
Like, you're very rarely going to find anyone over like 25 using Snapchat.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
I mean, yeah, it is a big important thing in people's lives, but obviously
yeah,
it's controlling as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But what do you think on like sort of technology in our lives in general? What do you think of?
Oh, we was all kind of born around like around when technology was starting to advance, and as we've grown, it's just gotten better. Like, I don't think there's a part where it's got worse. Because if something was to happen, like, I don't know, an app stops working or something stops working, it gets fixed quicker than we think. Growing around it, obviously, it's going to become a normal thing. It's j- like eating. It's just going to become a normal thing you do every day. Um, but also the whole Snapchat, TikTok, all that is, as you said, it is our way of communicating. And obviously, during our GCSEs, it's how I just go on TikTok and search up like today. I just done geography and I searched up geography and just started scrolling through the videos, seeing what other people are saying. And then when it came to the exam, I was answering the questions that I got from social media. But also, it's not always full of positive things. Obviously, you've got Snapchat, which is you can change settings to as soon as someone opens that message, you can never see it again. Yeah, so that whole thing, there's two different sides to social media. You've got a really positive and good side to it, but then the other side is a really dark, yeah, it's just not a good place.
Absolutely, and especially like I think deleting messages is a perfect example of technology is good up to a point. You know, don't get me wrong. Some people are just genuinely using it for like general use. Like, you just don't want to read your messages. Not a problem with that. There's certain people that are going to really take advantage of that setting. I think companies and stuff like Snapchat should tell people, these disappearing messages don't actually disappear.
Yeah,
Like, they are actually stored. And I think some young people, I'm going to guarantee some young people have gotten in trouble
yeah,
yeah, for thinking those disappearing messages really disappeared.
yeah,
And you
Um,
don't really realize how much social media kind of links into your content.
yeah.
and your
And
footprint.
I think even when it comes to us growing up, if we've ever posted any TikToks or even reposted now,
Yeah,
your future employers can pull that up. Like, and I think that's a really scary because, like, 16-year-old you is going to be so different to 25-year-old you. You're going to be so much more mature, But why is this video from when you were 16 now being used against you? Like, I think there's benefits and negatives to it as well. And I think generally, I do think that sort of privacy settings and stuff becoming a big thing in the past few months, years really, has been a really good thing.
yeah,
I think I generally think that more sort of social media companies should be pushing sort of privacy settings and stuff and automatically making like child accounts more secure. Obviously, Roblox have just done a massive sort of overhaul.
Yeah,
Not, I'm assuming none of us really play Roblox, but they obviously bunch everyone in sort of age categories. So like ones are on like Roblox Kids, and if you're like above like 12 or something, you won't be able to get onto the younger version of Roblox.
they've changed also like chatting on Roblox as well. It's just you get a simple list of chats you can only send.
I think in that sort of sense it's good, but do you think that's a bit too much? Like, what if I had a younger sibling that
yeah,
came wanted to play a bit of Roblox with them, but I can't?
yeah. Um, it is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but the extent that I haven't really experienced it myself because I don't really play Roblox like that, but I've seen it on TikTok. Like you get quick messages now instead of that. You can type out your own message, and like if someone's in the same game as you but not in the same age group as you, their message will be locked so you can't see it. So it can be a good thing because there was a massive problem on Roblox of children, but the way that they've done it, they could have done it in a better way. I don't know how to explain how they could have done it in a better way, but it could have been done.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't tell you how, but it should have been done. But I think it's all kind of linked to this law last year, the Online Safety Act. It's a really big law, right? And then the results of it, I would say, have been a success to an extent. The people in charge don't fully understand technology. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if putting this new law, great, it protects kids, cool. But then they found out, if I wanted to go on whatever website someone go on, right, there's loopholes to everything.
Yeah,
And people figured out, VPNs are a loophole.
yeah,
So then they wanted to ban VPNs.
Yeah.
But you can't really ban VPNs because there's people generally using them for genuine purposes. Like, I think every technology was created for a good reason.
I feel like a lot of websites, you can literally just say you're 18 and they wouldn't know.
yeah.
There's,
Yeah,
there's-
a lot of websites, like you just said, they ask for your birthday. You can just put the most random date you can think of, and they won't ask you to verify that or nothing. You just put that age in, and the app thinks you're that age. They won't check that. They won't verify that, and I think that is a big issue as well.
Yeah, like all social media is doing it as well. Like,
Yeah.
when you go onto Instagram, whenever you signed up, you're too young, you just lie. Not a problem.
I think they are starting to put those in a few social media apps,
Yeah.
but it does need to be widespread, really.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think this whole sort of putting in age verification and stuff is good. Last month or the month before, PlayStation did it.
Right.
So if you wanted to chat with your friends, you had to verify your age. Now, there's two things I think wrong with that. One, if you're genuinely like a child, aside from a passport, which not every child has,
Yeah.
how else to verify your age?
Yeah.
Not every 16-year-old has a passport, and if you want to get one, like, it costs quite a bit. And then the second part of that is these companies that are verifying your ID. What are they actually doing to verify it? Where's your data being stored? I think
Yeah,
there's that side of it as well. Like, these could be any company, and I think what lots of people are stressing about is like they are not companies that originate in this country. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? But I think it scares a lot of people that our data is now going abroad
Yeah.
to another country where, let's be real, they could do what they want with that.
That's the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
If you really sign up for anything, really, they store your phone number. They can sell that off to any other company. That's how you get scam calls.
Absolutely. I think it's that mix of, technology so good up until it's used against us. It's not that hard to really get someone's details online if you know how to look. Like,
Exactly.
I think, and that's why the internet's sort of becoming a bit negative. But do you guys think there, should be age limits as they've been implied recently? Like, Apple obviously now require you to confirm your age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. But as you said, if you are genuinely a child or you're 16 or any age below the age of 18 where you don't actually have your ID yet, how is there a way to prove that you are the age you are? Because when I don't know if it's different for PlayStation or Apple, I haven't done it yet. But with Xbox, you had to either hold the phone to your face and it will scan your face and tell you how old you are, or you take a picture of your ID, passport, driving license. And it's just one of them things where, me personally, I don't have none of that. I don't have a passport, nothing. So I would have had to do the face scan thing. But then, as you said, no one knows where that's actually going. So you can do your face scan and your face could be all over some random country that you've never even heard of before. And yeah, it's just a scary thing to think about.
I feel like as well, as you're saying, the face scan, you could be whatever age, say, 15, you could have a full grown beard.
Yeah,
They know how old you are.
exactly that.
Oh, you have facial hair, yeah, you're old enough.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
look at Geffen, man. Like, look at Geffen's like a perfect example though. Like, Gavin, you look so much older than you really are.
Yeah.
I think. And the fact that you're probably one of the youngest guys in our year group, and you look like you could pass for like 2 years above us. Genuinely, I think again, how some randomer, whether it's AI or an actual person trying to verify, it's like we don't even know that.
Yeah.
We don't even know if it's an AI or a person.
Yeah.
But how are they going to know your actual age just by a face scan?
Exactly.
It's good that we sort of brought up like PlayStation, Xbox. Sort of leads into the next sort of segment I want to talk about gaming. Obviously, generally, gaming is a really good thing, right? I think it's a good way of sort of chilling out, without your friends. I can absolutely beat these two at FIFA. Yeah, yeah. What was our last score? Go on. What was the last score?
12-1.
12-1. Yeah, yeah. When I say I beat him, bro. Gaming's good, and that sort of cross platforms obviously becoming a lot more popular now. Games integrated. Gaming's becoming fun again. But do you think over the past couple of years there's been a period where perhaps games weren't as good as we thought? Because I think personally I've noticed like I've been on my console and I have hundreds of games and I'm
Mm.
like I actually don't want to play any of these.
There's loads of games on Xbox. I don't know about PlayStation. On Xbox, you've got Game Pass, which gives you thousands of games. But then them games are not what people want to play. They're just a bunch of old games. So gaming used to be fun when you have everyone on, you're doing something you all want to do, you're doing something fun. But then when them games die out and you're like, okay, let's look for another game on this Game Pass, it's just full of old games that no one plays anymore. But like, gaming currently for me, I can go home, I can sit and stare at my screen for a good 10 minutes and I still wouldn't know what to play. Like, that's how boring it's getting.
Yeah,
But then it's always the fact of like, you can't always go out. It could be due to the weather. Um, during COVID, we couldn't go out, stuff like that. So it's fun when everyone's on that. Everyone's down to play, everyone's on. But then when there's like just you, someone else, maybe you and two others, and there's just nothing you guys really want to play, that's when it gets like, okay, it's a bit dead now.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of games, well, such as FIFA,
Yeah.
they are just regenerating using their old kind of features and just popping a new one in there and calling it a new game.
Yeah. That's the whole
Absolutely.
stop playing FIFA because it's just the same game every year.
I don't know. I think FIFA is probably one of the biggest culprits for it.
Yeah.
Isn't this every year? And they'll say, "Oh, we took out Volta, but we put in Rush." What's the difference?
So there's new kits. Yeah,
It's the exact same like base game, really.
They charge £100 for the Ultimate Edition, even though you
In
get
it,
the thing if you play the game for a couple of weeks, you get
Yeah.
the same thing.
in it, in it. Generally, some games are just getting a bit too.
and I don't feel like the features have even changed really in FIFA.
Mainly graphics.
You know what though? Of all the things, I think to do with FIFA, the one thing I think they'll never be able to replicate is their old soundtracks. Never. Like FIFA 19 was probably my favorite soundtrack. What was yours?
I didn't really start playing FIFA till like FIFA 22 really.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, the 2021, the FIFA 21 soundtrack was up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a good one.
That one with heat waves. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That one.
They had 2 years with heat waves, I think.
Yeah.
They do have a good variety of songs.
Like, yeah, sometimes it's good for sort of random artists that you never heard of.
Yeah.
I think these days it is getting a bit more sort of common. They are slipping in like quite a few more popular songs, like Jack Harley's got into like the past couple of FIFAs.
Yeah.
You know, Ed Sheeran somehow got into FIFA. That just made me laugh, man. Because I remember it was the first song I heard when I opened the game.
Yeah.
Nothing against Ed Sheeran, right? I don't mind a bit of his music. But it just really caught me off guard.
Yeah, exactly.
What's Ed Sheeran doing in FIFA, man? Like, it doesn't seem like the kind of artist to be in FIFA. But yeah, generally, I think FIFA is a class example of a game that's sort of recycled every year and shoved in your face for the same amount of money. I still sometimes switch back to a couple of the older versions of FIFA. and tell me like get whatever the current one is for a discount. Like if I hop on FC24 today, right, it'll tell me I'll get FC26 for on like a 20% discount.
Yeah.
So even if I want to play the old ones, it's still shoving it in my face.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And trust, there's no difference, not much difference between them.
Yeah.
It's not just FIFA though. It's like these other games you can, for example, Fortnite. Don't play it much anymore because it's just the same thing. They had a new map and new guns and call it a new season or a new chapter or whatever they call it. But it's just the same. It's literally just the same, just different guns, different map.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the thing about Fortnite, right, is if you watch YouTubers play it, there'll be all these packs and everything because they can afford it, right?
Yeah.
But the average kid
Exactly.
definitely cannot afford it. But you see a favorite YouTuber with it, so you'll get it.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense, I think games know they can get away with sort of overcharging. I'd say overcharging because they know people are going to do it, going to get it.
Yeah, that especially Fortnite. I'll say that is one of the biggest games I've played that do overcharge for in-game currencies and in-game items because they're making them for kids. But obviously, you're a kid, you can't purchase this, so you're gonna have to ask your parents, and then your parents using their money. Like they're releasing literally brain rot skins to make kids buy them because realistically, these YouTubers, they'll buy them, but that's just because collection. I'd say they do it for collection, but then you've got kids that are like actually like addicted to this brain rot stuff and just really want to buy it. Like they buy it straight away.
Yeah.
To me, right, I've never understood brain rot, right? To me, it's so stupid. Like, what the hell, man? It's a piece of wood holding a bat. Like,
Exactly.
I think the prompt behind it, right? The prompt behind it, I found quite funny because it's someone wanted Batman, and it made him. That's what it made, right? So I think the prompt behind it is kind of funny. It got so overused.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to me, it's just so stupid. I think with a bit more context, it makes a little bit more sense, but it's still stupid.
To me, it makes no sense to me. I've never really obviously it's been on my For You page before, but it's been on everyone's. But I've never some people, they would go fully into it and read the whole stories of these characters. I'm just like, what are you doing?
In it, man. But yeah, I think that's mainly aimed at like a couple years below us.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's just stupid, right? I think in that sense, I think TikTok is probably one of the more responsible ones for putting rubbish out there. And TikTok, it's something that's relatively new.
And YouTube Shorts.
Oh yeah, YouTube.
A lot of kids have pulled in.
YouTube Shorts are like 2 years behind. But yeah, like TikTok is probably the worst for it. I think TikTok itself is just a whole relatively messed up algorithm, but that's something for another week.
Yeah.
I think that's where we wrap it up for today, boys.
Yeah.
Harley, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. You've been class today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So we'll definitely sort of arrange to get you back on.
Yeah.
If you're happy to do that.
Of course,
Yeah, Gavin, Ryan, I'll see you boys in a bit.
Bye.
Right.
In a bit, boy.